Hello book lovers, it's me Jules, joining you today through the Facebook page of the Isle of Wight Libraries. I have really missed being able to pop into my local library in the last few months. Have you? If we haven't met before, I make books for children. I write and illustrate them. It's my dream job and I absolutely love doing it. Have you seen this one? Or this one? Lots of you take part in the Summer Reading Challenge, and this year it's all online. It's called Silly Squad. Now, I would like to say that I am never ever silly. Being an adult is a very serious occupation. You would never find me jumping in puddles or shouting bum in public. Bum! With that in mind, I thought we should read some very serious books. How about this one? Oh, all right, how about we read a silly story that I made? It's called Wally and Bert, and it's all about my dog Wally, and he thinks that his tail is different to him, and it's just like his best friend that follows him everywhere. So I've called it Bert. So this is Wally, and this is Bert. Wally and his tail, Bert, have been best friends forever. In fact, Wally literally can't think of a time when Bert wasn't there. They are very well matched. Wally likes big dinners, so does Bert. Wally loves playing Snap, and Bert always lets him win. And they both love nothing more than to snuggle down under their blanket and play 20 questions. Wally and Bert live with Blender Breathin, who has an amazing amount of groovy shoes. Blender works in Mr. Wong's Chinese restaurant, answering phones and writing down the orders. Sometimes she brings home leftover noodles at the end of her shifts. Those are Wally's best days. Wally, Bert and Blender live in an old Victorian house that is much taller than it is wide. The two best friends have never been right to the top, as Wally has rather short legs in comparison to the stairs, which are rather too tall. It was lunchtime on Thursday that Wally and Bert realised that Blender was still in bed. Usually she was up and out of the house by 10 o'clock, as she liked to help Mr. Wong prepare the food. It was bad news. Blender looked awful. "I have a terrible headache," she said. "The light is hurting my eyes." "You can't go to work like this." "Don't worry," said Wally. "Bert and I can go and help Mr. Wong today. You stay under the covers." Wearing his smartest waistcoat, Wally stepped into the pouring rain with Bert not far behind him. He checked he had enough money for his bus fare there and back, put his umbrella up and headed off for the bus stop. Splash went the bus. Wally's best waistcoat was covered in puddle water from a horrid, stinky bus stop puddle. The bus didn't stop. By the time he got on the next bus, Wally was feeling pretty miserable. He was wet and his waistcoat was starting to smell funny. "Don't worry, Wally," said Bert. "You can take it off and hang it up when we get to work." "I suppose," said Wally. "Think of all the fun we'll have with Mr. Wong," said Bert. That made Wally feel better, and he started to whistle his favourite wet weather tune. Mr. Wong was surprised to see Wally and Bert instead of Blender, but he was glad there'd be someone to answer the phone. He said Wally could turn the sign on the door to say open. The phone rang and Wally took his first order. I'd like a number 34 with no sauce, a 47 with a side order of prawn balls, and an egg fried rice without the egg. Or the rice," said the customer. Wally wrote it down very carefully with his left-handed pencil. He was a bit slow, but he found if he stuck his tongue out the corner of his mouth, it helped. "Shh, shh, shh, shh." Wally listened to the sound of Mr. Wong cooking. It made a shh, shh, shh noise, and it smelled terrific. He felt a bit hungry. There were jars of pickles and chutney for sale on the counter. He wondered what pickled plums tasted like. No sooner had the thought entered his head than his paw was reaching into the jar. It went in all right, but on the way out, the jar seemed smaller. He pulled and pulled, but his paw was truly jammed. "Oh no!" wailed Wally. "What am I going to do? I'm a little indisposed to answer the telephone." "Don't panic," said Bert, sensing Wally's concern. "You'll make it worse. Try rubbing a splash of tomato sauce on your paw." It did the trick, and Wally's paw slid out of the jar just as the phone rang. It was the start of the busy time. The phone didn't stop ringing, and people were queuing right to the door. Wally tried to keep up with the long list of orders, but after a while he stopped listening and started to think of his lottery numbers and the 7 times table. A man came in and ordered for all of the people who worked at the circus, which is set up on the green. Jerry, the strong man, wanted seaweed and prawn chop suey. Luigi, the trapeze artist, would have Szechuan-style chicken wings, and Susie, the contortionist, only wanted a sliver of pickled fish, owing to the fact that she was due on stage in half an hour. Wally's handwriting had never been very neat. He didn't have a rubber, so he tried licking his finger and rubbing it over the mistakes he'd made. It was making things worse. Soon enough, even he couldn't read what he'd written. Wally called the orders through to Mr. Wong, but it didn't sound quite right. Was it number 16 and 89 or 61 and 98? It was so confusing. "It'll be okay," said Bert comfortingly. "Just try and remember what people wanted." As well as the queue of people waiting to order food, another line of people was forming. They were all looking quite cross and said their food orders were all wrong. "I didn't order turkey beak soup or dandelion fritters. And how on earth is Susie the contortionist supposed to eat Chinese chicken curry?" shrieked the man from the circus, whose face had gone the colour of a ripe mango. Mr. Wong showed Wally and Bert the back door. In fact, he generously helped the best friends on their way, swiftly followed by the nearly dried out waistcoat. Wally put it on and sighed. "Oh, what a day," he huffed. "I don't think I'm cut out for taking orders from people." "Never mind," said Bert kindly. "You tried your best." "What do you think Blenda will say?" asked Wally. "Mr. Wong is her boss, and she'll be angry if we got her into trouble." Bert wasn't sure what to say, so he thought it better not to say anything. At the bus stop, Wally realised that his money must have fallen out of his pocket. He and Bert were going to have to walk home. "Oh, Bert, I'm so sorry," said Wally. "Never mind," said Bert cheerily. "We could do with the fresh air." The park was deserted apart from someone looking out of a bird box. "Pah! Would you look at that?" said Wally as he picked up some rubbish. It's a doggo bone scratch card, and it hasn't been scratched yet. He put it in his waistcoat pocket to look at later. At last, Wally was able to put his feet up with a nice cup of tea. What a terrible day! Nothing seemed to have gone right. What's more, there was still Blenda to face. He could hear her footstomps coming down the stairs. "Well, that's just great," said Blenda as she flopped down in the chair. She was looking much better. Wally started to speak. I can explain." But a big smile spread across Blenda's face. "As you were so terrible at work today, Mr. Wong has offered me a pay rise because he realises how useful I am, and he'll give me a big bonus if I never ask you to take my place again." Wally wasn't quite sure what to say. "Spare noodles for dinner?" asked Blenda. "Or I think I've got some chicken wings and rice." The thought of takeaway dinner made him feel a bit queasy. "Actually, perhaps we could have something else tonight?" asked Wally. "See, I told you everything would be okay," said Bert, cuddling up to Wally. "Okay, so you haven't got neat handwriting, but you tried your best, and now Blenda's got a pay rise." "Thanks, Bert," said Wally. "Best friends really are a great tonic when you've had a bad day." Then Wally remembered the scratch card in his waistcoat pocket. He got a penny and gently scratched away the foil. "Bert, you'll never believe it," he shouted. "We've won! We've won!" Bert was so excited he bobbed up and down in a little jig. "What did we win?" he asked excitedly. "A year's supply of doggo bones." "Fantastic! I love those biscuits," Bert wagged. Blenda came back in with a dinner on a tray. She was delighted that she could save loads of money on doggy treats for the next year. And luckily she'd made Wally and Bert's favourite dinner, maraboni cheese. And that is the end of the story. If you've enjoyed listening to a silly story, then why not join the reading challenge today? Right now. No, actually wait until I've finished. It's super easy to do and you can play games and earn badges as well. And don't worry, even if your library is closed, you can still do everything online. You can get ebooks and even get audiobooks. Wow! You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and through my website, Jules Marriner Books. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and maybe the libraries might do some more with different authors. Remember to love your library. They will have special measures put in place to keep everyone safe. Let us know in the comments which books you've read and absolutely love. It might help put that book in front of somebody else. That's all from me today, sending you lots of book love. I hope you find something you really enjoy to read. I'll see you soon. Nanu nanu!